This will be the second round this afternoon, from 1 on, another 3 to 5. 3 to 5 inches this afternoon. Yeah. Here.
Oh, just make sure I know it's more powerful than me. I wasn't down to you either.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Providence Zen Center for the Dharma talk portion of our Sunday Dharma program. Thank you all so much for making the trip out in the snow to come and join us today. It's nice to have a nice, good, intimate, but still fairly sizable group here with us today. So thank you all so much for coming. And thank you everyone for joining us online as well. It seems like we're quite popular online as well, so thank you too. Giving our introductory talk today is going to be Gary Belanger. Gary is a Dharma teacher here at the Providence Zen Center who's been practicing with us since about 9/11. He is an electrical engineer and does a lot of bodhisattva work here at the Zen Center, helping us with various repairs and various machinery questions when none of us know quite what's going on. So he's of great benefit to all beings as a result of it. And then answering questions today is going to be Colin Beavan JDPSN. Colin Beavan first practiced in the Kwan School of Zen in 1996. He is a father, a trusted advisor, and coach, and the author of several books, including How to Be Alive and No Impact Man. He lives in upstate New York, although I'm not sure if that's still where you reside these days. He resides up in Cambridge Zen Center these days and received Inka in April 2022. So thank you all for coming again, and thank you for your talks.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone online and here in person. The Dharma room and outside look particularly nice today. The Dharma room's well lit. It's clean. We had a cleaning crew in here yesterday, a little half day or cleaning session, kind of a retreat. It's snowing outside. There's snow on it, stuck to the trees, so it's actually quite a nice environment here today. So anyway, when it comes to the Dharma talk, I kind of had two things in mind. I kind of got tossed back and forth between what I wanted to talk about. The first one is that probably within the next year I'll be losing my job to artificial intelligence. Probably, not certain, but probably. And that would be one. And the other one had to do with Christmas and various presents and stuff like that. So I'll save the Dharma talk on losing my job when it happens. So this one's about basically the best Christmas present I ever got. And that kind of topic came up because obviously it's Christmas time and I see people with a lot of gifts and stuff like that. My niece has 2 small children. They're the only kids in the family, so they get a lot of gifts and stuff like that. So it kind of brings back memories. And I reminisce about, the best Christmas present I ever got. I'm going to take kind of the long way on getting there. The teaching topic for the best present I ever got was essentially who knows what's good or bad. So all of the old timers now are saying, great, here comes the farmer's horse story. But I'm going to do it anyway, just in case there's people that are not familiar with it. So one of the big teaching stories that really hit me here was about a farmer that lost his horse a long time ago. So this farmer had this horse, and the horse was a tool back then. It was a cherished tool. I mean, you plowed the fields with it, you used it to get in and out of town and stuff. And it wasn't a rich farmer. They had the essentials, and they had this horse. And one day the horse ran away. Somebody left the gate open, and it left. And the neighbor comes over and says, "Oh my God, how bad! I feel so sorry for you. This is tragic." And the farmer, being wise, says, "Who knows what's good or bad?" And there's variations on that. Some people say what's good, what's bad. But I say, who knows what's good or bad? Well, about a day later, or 2 days later type of thing, the horse returns. And with it brought like 4 or 5 other horses, 4 or 5 other wild horses that it came across. So the farmer, corralled them and stuff like that. And the neighbor saw this, comes over and says, "Oh my God, you are so lucky. You had 1 horse, now you got 5 horses. You're so fortunate." And the farmer, being wise, says, "Well, who knows what's good or bad?" So as, the farmer also had a son, and the son tried to tame one of the horses. You just can't have wild horses. So he tried to tame one of the wild horses, and he was thrown off the horse, and he broke his leg. Here comes the neighbor, and you can kind of see where this is going. "Oh, my God, this is tragic. A son, at least of all, gets a broken leg. How are you going to..." And again, the wise farmer says, who knows what's good or bad. And then the last one is, coming through the town is the army, back then, soliciting, young men to fight in this war. And the son had a broken leg, so they couldn't take him. And again, the neighbor comes over and blah, 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 blah. So you get the point. So the teaching of, who knows what's good or bad really kind of stuck with me as teaching here, but also I kind of apply it to things that happened in the past. Things that happened in the past, I wasn't aware of the story, and I wasn't aware of who knows what's good or bad. But now that I come here and practice regularly, that I apply that teaching to past experiences. And I'm going to keep some notes here. So I've given a couple of Dharma talks in the past on where I grew up. I grew up on a street down in West Warwick that was it was run down, with old houses and stuff like that. There was a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, it was down in the Phoenix section of West Warwick, and it was a street that ran parallel to the Patuxent Valley River. And between the street and the river, there was train tracks, but they dug up the train tracks, so it was just a path. In fact, it's still a walking path. You can go down there now, so it's a legitimate walking path. And on Ames Street, there was the good part of the street, and then there was the bad part of the street. And unfortunately, I lived in the bad part of the street. Well, maybe fortunately, who knows? Who knows what's good or bad? But for the vast majority of the houses on the street, they were old. They were put up in the mill eras, the industrial revolutions and stuff like that. So we lived in a 4-tenement house, and it was ugly. I mean, it was old. It was probably 200 years old when we were there. And there was only a couple of other houses like that on the street, but there was, on one end of the street, there was a really nice house. It was put up much, much later, probably after World War II or something like that. And the family that lived there, they were affluent. They had a nice house, they had nice cars and all that stuff. But I went to school with one of the boys. They had 2 boys and a girl, and one of the boys, Dave, we'll call him David, we were in the same class at Catholic school, so we both went to the same Catholic school. Our families belonged to the same church. I belonged to the same Boy Scout troop as David, but yet I was not allowed to really play with David, even though we were friends. I go over to the house, and I wasn't allowed into the house. Now, don't get me wrong. They didn't say, "You're not allowed." No, it's just you knock on the door, and you, "Hold on, I'll get David." He comes out. We could just play in the yard. I couldn't leave the yard. He couldn't come to my house, and so forth. And it became apparent that I was not welcome. And it always bothered me. And I never asked. I never even asked David, hey, why? What's the story? You know? So I never asked, because it was always, I always felt like, white trash, because we came from the wrong end of the street. And it was pretty obvious that we weren't in the same class as these people. However, considering the fact that we went to the same school, belonged to the same church, we're in the same Boy Scout troop, I kind of thought that would, kind of negate the impression that we were total white trash, but it didn't. I kind of knew we were white trash the day my father said, come on, let's go outside and paint the car. With house paint, rollers, and a brush. It was an awesome experience. I cherished that thing. My father's, we painting his car. It's an old Buick, and it was kind of black in the back, and it was yellow in the front, so we got black paint, and we're painting this car with rollers. And it looked better than it did before we started. So the point being is that, we were kind of on the wrong end of the street. What happened was, at this point, was this family bought some mini bikes for their kids. They bought a Honda 70 and a Honda 50. And a Honda 70 is something I wanted so bad as a kid. We grew up in West Warwick. There was a main drag in West Warwick where people go shopping. It's called Arctic. And there was a Honda shop in Arctic. And there was a hardware store right in front of it. And whenever my mother would take me to Arctic, she would go do her stores. You used to go to Newberry's and pay the gas bill and pay the electric bill and pay the phone bill and stuff. Well, she used to leave me at the Honda shop and the hardware store. So I would just stay there for an hour and stuff like that. So the hardware store, I'd just walk around. I'd look at, all the wrenches and tools and all that stuff, and became kind of interested in, stuff, mechanical stuff. And they had like a gun display of pellet guns and stuff like that, BB guns, because back then, if you had a farm and stuff like that, you needed, some sort of gun to get the critters away and stuff. So I used to stare at that a lot. But most of all, I used to go to the Honda shop. And I used to stand in the Honda shop, and I used to stare at this Honda 70. This thing, it was not like a mini bike that had like an old, a lawnmower engine on it. No, this was a real Honda mini bike. It had lights and directionals, and had a gas tank. It had shocks. It was beautiful. And I would just stand there, and I would just basically stare at this thing. And the people that worked there kind of they knew it, right? So they're like, hey, maybe you'll get it for Christmas if you ask or wish hard enough. And I'm like, I'm just staring at this thing. And this went on for like a couple of weeks. Every time my mother would go to Arctic, she'd drop me off at this Honda dealer. And one day I'm in the Honda dealer, and they were doing they did some demolition the day before or something like that. So this bike was all dusty. And the guys were cleaning the other bike shop, and I'm like, hey, you got an extra rag? They're like, yeah. I'm dusting this, the bike off, cleaning it, and I got down, and I'm like buffing this, and it had chrome on it, and I'm like, I got to know every single inch of this Honda 70. Well, as I mentioned, the people down the street who I used to try to hang around with, they had one. And it was summertime, and the father didn't even let the kids ride the bikes at that point. He would take them for a ride. So, be David, his brother, and me stand there, and the father would take David for a ride all around their property and come back, take the other son all around the property, come back, take Dave for a ride all around the property, come back, take the other son. I'm like just standing there hoping that I would get a ride on the bike. But I never did. And I can't really blame them. It's very expensive and stuff like that. Christmas rolls around, and I am praying for this Honda 70. And I never, ever asked my parents for it. Never even mentioned it, because of the fact that at that time, that would have probably been 6 months worth of salary for my parents. I mean, it was I don't know how much it was, but it was a lot. And I was young. I don't know, I maybe 8, 9, 10, the most. So I just kind of knew what you can ask for and know what you can't ask for. And so I never really said anything, but I kind of made it obvious, and I was like, staring at this thing like when they went to pick me up. So to kind of make the story move along a little bit, Christmas rolls around, and I get up the next day, and I walk in towards the living room, and I see this big thing, and it's got wheels on it, and it was a bike. It was just a regular bike. So I opened this present and stuff like expecting a Honda 70, and it was just a regular bike. It was a cool bike, though. It was a Schwinn, and it had a banana seat, and it had monkey handlebars, and it had a sissy bar, and it had a stick shifter, and I'm not sure what sick bastard decided to put a stick shifter that stuck up that high on a bicycle that a bike boy would ride on the bike. So it was like, so depending on where the shifter was, you had the option of being impaled or castrated. So pretty much those were the two options. So my father saw me, had a little bit of disappointment on my face, and he said, I would have loved to get you the mini bike, but we can't afford it. And so I'm looking at this bike, and I'm like, wow, this is an awesome bike. And usually I just get one present, but I had another present. It was a box. And it showed that my father was paying attention, because I opened the box, and it was a BB gun. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't even expect this. I got a BB gun. Well, it turns out the people that lived upstairs from us, my friend that I used to hang around with, he got a bike and a BB gun. And the guy next door got a bike and a BB gun. So the fathers were in on this. So the fathers got together and said, what can we do? Well, I didn't get the Honda 70, but I got a bike and I got a BB gun. And I got 2 other close friends, and then we had the adventures of a lifetime during that summer. I mean, we got on these bikes and we probably rode 10 miles away from home. And we rode old railroad tracks, and we rode in the woods, and we had a gun strapped to our back. So, in fact, the first time we're leaving the property, well, 3 of us, we got on our bikes, and we got our guns strapped to our back, and the neighbors looking over at us going, what could possibly go wrong with this picture? 8, 9-year-old kids on bikes with guns. Nothing bad can happen. But the point being is that I didn't get the present that I wanted, But I got something that gave me a lot of life's lessons. Like I said, we were adventurous. This was during a time where when you got up in the morning, your parents would throw you out of the house, and they told, don't come back until the street lights come on. So like I said, we kind of went and did everything. And we grew up in an area where there was a lot of things to do. There was a river. There was train tracks with train trestles. There was woods. There was abandoned buildings. There was just absolutely so much for a kid to get in trouble with. But luckily, it all kind of it worked out. It kind of gave me a sense that it kind of taught me the what's good, what's bad kind of thing, even though I didn't know it at the time. It also gave me a sense of dependence. It also gave me a sense that I could take care of myself. Like we slept out in the woods and stuff like that. I'm kind of even surprised our parents let us do this when we were so young and stuff like that. But there's this great wooded area that, you know, we could go sleep out on Friday and Saturday night. In fact, my father, this is kind of deviating a tad, my father worked in a lace mill. You know, it was a big mill that made, you know, various cloths and stuff. Didn't make a lot of money, stuff like that. So he got some fabric that was spoiled in the machine. It had like grease on it and stuff, so they couldn't use it. So he gave it to, you know, my father took it home, and my mother made a tent out of it. So I was the only person in town that had a silk tent. But anyway, so we would do stuff like that, and it only lasted maybe like one whole summer and stuff, where we were like adventurous and stuff. But it really it taught me a lot, and it really became the who knows what's good, who knows what's bad, because if I would have gotten a mini bike, if I would have gotten that Honda 70, I probably would have been all alone on it, because the other person, they couldn't leave the yard with it. They had to stay on their property. They at one point, there was a trail in the back. I said the old train tracks were ripped up, and they could go up and down that. They couldn't go off the side of the trail. They couldn't go in the, they could just go up and down that one path. So I would have been alone on a bike. And instead of that, I got, you know, two other close friends that I, you know, cherish. To this day, I kind of, you know, we send emails and, you know, Facebook and stuff like that. So to kind of wrap it up, I think I'm around that time. You know, sometimes the best gift that you get is the one you don't get. Sometimes the best gift is something that you wanted, but you didn't get it. That doesn't seem to happen a lot anymore. And given the fact that we had BB guns and lived on a river, I will probably be reborn a frog if there's any justice in this world at all. You know, I'll kind of leave it at I'll kind of leave it at that.
Thanks, Gary, for your wonderful talk. So, when Zen Master Sung-song came to the United States, Zen Master Sung-song was a Korean monk. He came over in the early 70s. A lot of Buddhist monks came over from the 70s because at that time the United States was exporting war to Vietnam, exporting war to Asia. So the Asians thought, we better export Buddhism to America. And so a lot of monks came over to teach here. Anyway, when Zen Master Sung-song came, his English wasn't very good. So when he went into public to give a talk, he would go with his students, and they would get there, and then he would go, "You give talk," to the beginning students, and then he would answer the questions, right? So basically, the person that could speak well spoke first, and then the person who can't really speak well speaks second. So, do you have any questions?
So then, also the thing that Gary brought up was not good and not bad. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about how the absolute works with that, where there truly is no good and bad. It's not an easy way to kind of talk about it, but maybe you can do some.
Yeah. In Buddhism, we have something called the 6 realms of existence. At the bottom is the hungry ghost realm. Some people say the hungry ghost is like a person with an infinitely skinny neck, but an infinitely large stomach, right? So it's just, I want, and just impossible. And then at the top, without going through all the realms, at the top is the God. I have everything I could possibly want, I don't need anything, not Buddhism, by the way, nothing, because I have everything, right? The opposite of the hungry ghost, in between, human realm, right? So our consciousnesses, they say, it's classical Buddhism, when you die, you are reincarnated, you get a new body, and you move up and down through the realms. But metaphorical style Buddhism, actually we're transitioning through these realms of existence all the time. So different things occur in your mind, like this is good or this is bad. Your mind says this is good or this is bad. If it says this is good, then it transitions up towards the God realm. Oh, I'm feeling better. I'm more and more powerful. Everything is just the way I want. I'm a God. If we say this is bad, we go down, down, down towards the hungry ghost realm, right? So sooner or later you get to the hungry, you're in the hungry ghost realm, you're in the pits, you're at the bottom, and then your mind says, I give up. It can't get any worse. It can't possibly get any worse. At that stage, you start to go up. Then you get to the God. Eventually, you move through the human realm. You get to the God realm. I mean, everything is wonderful. Everything is great. I'm in charge. Oh, wait. What if somebody tries to take some of my gold? You start to go down. Right. So our minds are like this, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, right? All from making good and bad. Right? Gary, when he told his story, he said, I really wanted a mini bike, I really wanted a mini bike. If somebody said, another kid said, and then he got a bike, starting to go down towards the hungry ghost realm. Oh, my friend's got one! Back up towards the God realm, right? Oh, I got a BB gun! Like up and down, up and down. Somebody else might have started, all I really want is a scooter, if I could just have a scooter. What? A bike! Yay! Going up, right? So it's only our minds that are creating good and bad. So one thing that we have is a provisional teaching, like this Chinese horse story, right? Or Gary's story. Look, means good is bad, bad is good. So we start off with good is good, right? Good, I want good. Bad is bad. I don't want bad. And having that clinging makes us go up and down. So then we develop a kind of thinking that's like a medicine for going up and down. Oh, bad is not bad, bad is good. So we kind of, not moving quite so fast up and down. Oh, good is not good, good is bad. So we're giving ourselves a little Band-Aid for our good-bad thinking. All the same, what's actually happening, but where does this, good is bad, bad is good, where does that thinking come from? It's even that thinking is a gift that's either bestowed on you or is not bestowed on you, because sometimes you think, no, good is good, bad is bad. And then suddenly you get a thought like Gary had, oh no, good is bad, bad is good, so I feel better. But we're still, even if we have a thought like, like the Chinese horse story, it can help us for a little while, but even still, now we're going up and down through the realms of existence, not just by what's happening from the outside world, but by what's happening from our inside world, our thinking. Just our thinking is making us go up and down. So now instead of going, I want a bike or I want a mini bike, I want a thought that will make me feel better. I want a good thought. Then I want a bad thought. But I got a bad thought. Sometimes you say, I just want to feel positive and grateful, but I hate everybody. And so it doesn't matter as much as, in fact, saying I just want to be positive and grateful contributes to the sinking down if you can't do it at that moment, right? Sometimes we have even our thoughts. Interestingly, see, if we cannot control our thoughts, are they even our thoughts? Right? Whose thoughts are these thoughts? This is, when you say, it's my breath is me, okay, stop breathing. Prove how much control you have over it, These are my thoughts. Okay, stop thinking. Show me how much control you have over it. Or these are my thoughts. I'm thinking sad thoughts. Okay, think happy thoughts. Show me how much control. If you can't control them, are they yours? Whose are they? Whose are these thoughts? So, even if we have a practice like reminding ourselves that good is bad, bad is good, like Gary talked about, we have another practice, which is while we're trying to cajole ourselves into having happy thoughts and not have sad thoughts, and treat our sad thoughts with happy thoughts, while we're trying to do this, which is natural. Of course it's natural, it's human, but what is it that's trying to do this? Where are these good thoughts and happy thoughts coming from? Where are the bad thoughts that are transforming the good thoughts coming from? Where are the good thoughts that are transforming the bad thoughts coming? What am I? If we're honest and we watch, any answer that comes up is just another thought. Just another thought. Where did that thought come from? Is that my thought? Whose thought is this? So we return, what am I? Here's another thought. But that's just a thought. That's not me. What am I? Eventually, you come to a place where you're honest, and the answer is, don't know. When you're in the place of don't know, that's the place before carving up the world into good and bad, into you and me, into brown and white, into Gary and Colin. In the place of not knowing, actually, everything shrinks back down to this point. At that point, I'll ask you, at this point, is it good or is it bad? So when we keep this don't know mind and don't carve the world up, that means not even say good is bad, bad is good, not say anything, just, oh, it's a bike. Oh, it's a BB gun. Oh. Not even say bike, BB gun, not even say stick. Right? Just let your eyes work, your nose work, your tongue work, your ears work, your consciousness work, right? This place before thinking. Then at that point everything is not carved up, and everything returns to original substance. Everything has the same substance. At this point, there is no this or that. Once we've attained this point, right, there's no substance, means no you, no me. That means complete freedom. Freedom means freedom from life and death. Because freedom from life and death means I don't need good things. I don't need to push away bad things. And at that point, my life is only for you. Your life is only for me. Right? Call it the bliss of harmony. Right? So the absolute, what Kwan Hengzani was asking about, is at this point, everything happens too fast and in too one-pointedness for there to be any good and bad. If we can come there, then we can see clearly, hear clearly, taste clearly, touch clearly, have objects of consciousness clearly, and act clearly, only together. Any other questions?
Freedom from life and death. Right after this, I return to life and death. I don't get freedom from life and death.
You said, I don't get freedom from life and death.
Right?
In that
I don't
statement,
understand.
right,
I don't
but
understand.
in that statement, as you speak, I don't get freedom from life and death. Where do life and death come from? Oh, well, if you bring your mind here, and I will take freedom and life, I will take life and death out of it. Bring your mind right here. Can you bring your mind right here?
And then it comes back. It does, I'm never free of it.
Because you have I. You will never be free from life and death, and neither will I. And I think probably for the rest of my life, I'm going to have thoughts of I, and you're going to have thoughts of I, probably too. But those are just thoughts. Right? Freedom from life and death means this. So in my own practice, right? Sitting. So sometimes I would be sitting, what am I? Don't know. At the point of saying don't know, right? I go, don't know. That feels sincere. But just after that, I go, oh, that's scary. My body starts to clench a little, right? I think of it like it's like balancing on a needle tip. Oh, I fell off, right? Oh, what am I? Don't know. Oh, no. And then a thought comes up, right? So, oh, God, I'm deeply scared of death. Deeply scared of death. But what is death? Then how can you be scared of it?
It's different. It's change.
How do you know? You just said you don't. Is death different from life? Life or death, same or different? Only that? Yeah. So what I realized in my practice, right, is I am not scared of death. I am scared of thoughts of death. Because I don't know what death is. How can I be scared of it? I just don't know. You can say, well, everybody's scared of the unknown, but what's the but that's because we make up an idea of what the unknown is. Scary, right? So we return to this point over and over. You said, oh, I go here, but pretty soon I have life and death again. That's okay, so go back here again. That's like saying, it's like complaining, when I'm inside by the fire, I'm warm. And when I go outside in the snow, I'm cold. What the fuck? It's okay, just go back to the fire again. Right? So there was a time when Zen Master Sungsong used to teach with what's called a Dharma doll, a Bodhidharma doll. I relate to this by, do you remember, well, not, some people are probably too young to remember this, but when I was growing up, speaking of Christmas presents, I once got this big blow-up Bozo the Clown, and it was weighted at the bottom. When you punched it, it knocked over, and then it came right again. Well, the Bodhidharma doll that Zen Master Sungsong used to have sometimes, this little doll that was a likeness of Bodhidharma, and it was also weighted at the rounded and weighted at the bottom. You knocked it over, and it would come back up again. So, center point, this is primary point, don't know mind, right? So, something happens, you have an argument with your wife. That's never happened to me. Okay. Until, of course, I got divorced. So, something happens and it knocks you off. Some thought of death knocks you over, right? Before you start practicing, you kind of stay like that for a long time. And then maybe, if you're lucky, eventually, but we practice. What we do is we practice. We get, what am I? Don't know. Okay. Oh, there's uncomfortable thoughts. But ask again, what am I? Don't know. Right? So we keep returning to this don't know center. So we do that. We keep practicing, and then we strengthen our don't know center. And then next time you have a fight with your wife, you just, oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I was angry with you. I'm sorry, I said mean words. Yeah, very quickly. you have a thought of life and death. And then sooner or later you see, you have a thought of life and death, right? You see, oh, having a thought of life and death is truth. Just having the thought is truth at that moment. But then when you say life means this and death means that, that's delusion, right? But having the thought, oh, that's the thoughts everybody else is having. Oh, now I understand. I better help them. Yeah. Another question? Hi.
If we are what we think, is everything predetermined?
If we are what we think, is everything predetermined?
So good, bad, bad, good. You know, the story of lying and kind of thinking I really want that CR70 Honda. But then end up getting the bicycle, which actually in turn being the better path.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, what's your name?
Dana.
Dana?
Yes.
Hi, Dana. Colin. Yeah. Is everything predetermined? How would an answer to that question help you?
Maybe some clarity. Maybe, for me, it may make a lot of sense because sometimes it feels that's the way things unravel.
Oh, so if we've come up with an answer to this question, you'll get a kind of thinking that feels better. Do you see where I'm driving? Where you said, wait, if everything's determined by my thinking, then is everything predetermined? So I said, how will answering that question help you? You said, well, it will make me have nicer thoughts. Do you see it's like a curly, it's like everything goes back to where it started.
I don't know, nicer thoughts, but isn't it, I'm just asking, I guess,
The desire to,
what we think.
the desire to understand, right, is essentially a desire to control, right? If I could understand, I could just have more good things, at least at the deepest level, right? But understanding is illusion. Also, not understanding is blankness, right? So clinging to understanding is illusion. Understanding that, I shouldn't breathe when I swallow my tea, I should just swallow. Let's see if I can do it. Not bad, right? So there are times when understanding in some simple way can help, but our minds, I want to understand, I want to understand, I want to understand, I want to understand. And then all of a sudden, we're like walking around in a dark room, and we don't see, if I could just understand, whoops, I hit Gary with my stick, oops, right? When this kind of obsessive trying to understand. That's why I said, how will knowing the answer to that question help you, right? So, Buddha said, right, it's like a man shot with a poison arrow. He says, who shot that arrow? Hey, what's this arrow made out of? Hey, what kind of poison is that? Hey, what vein did it hit? And, right? As opposed to, how do I function? Right? Oh, I got hit by a poison arrow. Doctor! Right? So, similarly, is everything predetermined? Is everything not predetermined? Right? When I ask you a question, what? It's simple. When I ask you a question, what do you do? Correct. Is that predetermined or not predetermined?
Will it depend on the question?
No, it's just answering. It's just answering. What a relief. What a relief. I'm hungry, so I eat. I'm thirsty, so I drink. You're hungry, so I feed you. You're thirsty, so I give you something to drink. What a relief. I already understand everything. Next question.
You have one online.
Oh, let me put my glasses on. Who is it?
Hi.
Hi.
So I have a question about attaining that point of don't know. If you're kind of permanently at that point, doesn't that kind of suck out the meaning out of life? And like, there's no difference. Like, why live if there is no difference between life and death?
Kill yourself and then you can tell me. You tell me, why live? Where'd you go? Oh, your little square just moved. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have reasons, but then if I give up those reasons, then I won't have any reasons.
You are talking about little reasons, little tiny reasons. I like this, I like that. These are my reasons to live, right? But you have a big reason to live, a very, very big reason to live. And you must find the answer to that question. What is my big reason for living? When you practice, when you're sitting and you're meditating, if you want, instead of saying, what am I? Don't know. You could say this. What is my big reason for living? Don't know. And at that moment, sooner or later, an answer will appear moment by moment. If you keep this question, what is my big reason for living? Right? Moment by moment, then your answer will appear right in front of your face. But you won't even know it's you won't even call it an answer. Okay? Another question?
Okay. Thank you.
Time? One more question? One more. All right, good. Go ahead, you.
Gary's with clothes, about the frog, and then you were talking about the different realms.
Mm-hmm.
How does this tradition think about reincarnation in the metaphorical way, or the more traditional way?
So, in Buddhism, right, Buddha said words like the Four Noble Truths and blah, 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 and lots of other words. Also, at the culture and the time in which Buddha existed, there was Hinduism and Jainism and all sorts of, there's lots of thinking in the culture. Some of it believed in reincarnation, some of it, whatever, lots of thinking. Some of it, also as Buddhism spread, it folded in the beliefs of the time. So, for example, in our temples in Korea, there's a strong tradition of shamanism. So in our Korean Zen Buddhist temples, there's usually a shrine to the mountain god folded in, right? So it's syncretic is the word, right? So depending, then you have Tibetan Buddhism, and you have, Malaysian Buddhism, and different, southern India and northern India, China, blah, blah. So all these different things. So depending on what Buddhist you asked, kind of like here, you got the Baptists and the Protestants and the Presbyterians and the right. So depending on who you ask, you get a different answer. So all of these beliefs and ideas, right? Eventually, they kind of got calcified. Kind of like some people talk about religion in our country, got kind of calcified. Everybody's following the word, not the spirit, right? So then a kind of tradition popped up where, no, don't follow Buddha's words, become Buddha, right? So Buddha sat under the tree for 6 years. They said, what am I? Don't know, right? So this is Zen. In a way, Zen is not Buddhism, not Buddhism. Zen is, it means don't pick up a bunch of beliefs from someone else, but return to the original human inquiry that you've had all your life and will have all your life. What am I? Right? Zen means understanding yourself. If we truly, all suffering comes from the fact that we don't understand ourselves, right? because we act in ways that are out of line with our true nature, and we cause suffering for ourselves and others. Zen means understand yourself, right? So if you can understand yourself, then you can function clearly. Understand clearly, function clearly, right? So whilst you could go to different Buddhist places and get some sort of talk on reincarnation and what it means, in Zen we don't really take a stand. Right? In Zen we say, what might get reincarnated or might not get reincarnated? What is that thing? Right? And if you find that thing that may or may not get reincarnated, then you will understand reincarnation for yourself. Okay? Good. Thank you for your question. Thank you all so much.
So, thank you both again for your talks, and a special thank you at the beginning of this Kyolche to everyone sitting up there, all of our teachers, and to Wanu Sunim, who is running up and down from Kyolche as kitchen master, head Dharma teacher, and still helping us with the technology here. So, a big thank you to him as well. Just a couple of short announcements to wind out. We have a couple of events coming up. As you may have already guessed, our winter Kyolche just began this Saturday and will be ongoing until April 5th. This is a wonderful opportunity to deepen your practice and really settle in up at the beautiful Diamond Hill Zen Monastery. So you can sit a minimum of 1 week. We have a long, varied roster of teachers that will be coming. So pick a week for yourself. Come on by and do some good Dharma practice. We do recommend and require that you already have at least some experience sitting a retreat with us, just to know what to expect before heading up there to help maintain the harmonious environment. Now, if that is of interest to you, we have a retreat coming up. On January 20th, this is on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4, Zen Master Tentgong will be leading a one-day retreat. That's our very own Jose Ramirez. So please come and join us for that. And then lastly, we are having a Foundations of Zen workshop. This is on Saturday, January 27th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., including lunch. This is slightly different from a retreat, as this is more of a long workshop to really understand the forms, where they came from, how we do them, and really give us some time to unpack everything that we do here and ask those questions and kind of come at it from the very beginning again, which is always a very, very helpful experience. So please come and join us for those events, and we'll have, of course, more retreats in the future. Last but not least, practice is always free. Electricity, internet, and as of 2 days ago, our new snowplow contract is not. So we are now at the beginning of the new year, and if you're anything like myself, everyone is making their budgets for 2024 financially. This Zen Center is no exception. The Zen Center relies very heavily on public support to function and to be able to provide this teaching and practice for all who come through these doors. It's about 30 to 40% of the income that we receive. So if you are making your budget this year, please take a look at it. See what you can put aside every month or for the year to help support this practice and everyone who comes through these doors here. It's a very, very important part of our practice that helps build our Sangha, brings us together, and keeps the lights running. Now, that being said, the most important thing you can do to support us is to show up and practice, like you all did today. So thank you all so much for coming.
Hang out with everyone, but I have to get back up to Kyolche, so I apologize for that. But if you have something pressing that you wish you could discuss with me, somebody here has my email address, and you could feel free. Thanks.
Hi, Isabel.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Are you in Portugal?
I'm in
Or are you-
Portugal, yeah.
Good, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's-
in Portugal.
+6, +5, how many hours? What time?
Oh, +5. It's 25 to 5 now.
Very good. It's nice to see you.
Are you feeling better? You good now?
Which Which
I don't know,
particular
last time I
illness
saw
are
you, it was your teeth.
So I still have the braces.
Oh, you still have the
My,
braces.
my surgery was going to be December 6th and it got postponed. But I hope to get it rescheduled soon.
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 And
I'm
are you,
scheduled.
yeah, you at home? You're at home, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you, the new Zen director, you told us that Nancy had asked you.
No. So I'm just the Sunday morning Zoom host, not to be confused with.
Oh, okay. Right.
Look at the Dharma room has the same login. We just use the director's login.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
I'm still
I just
Dharma.
read the thing there, but
Thank you.
yeah. But are you permanently? Did you change? Or Nancy? Or you
Well, no. So I've taken. Nancy asked me to take over. And,
completely? Yeah.
As permanent as impermanence will allow.
For what? Sorry.
I said I'm as permanent as impermanence will allow.
Yeah. Right.
But if I get in a pinch, I might ask you to do it.
Oh no. No, that wouldn't work out.
No problem. I have backup. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you. I haven't been here for a while, 'cause sometimes I just can't manage, the time. I forget, oh, oops, it was 3 o'clock, oh yeah, then it's too late.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I will try to tune in. I really enjoyed it. So, take care, and I hope everything goes well.
Thank you. It will.
Okay, I'm sure it will. Aconteceu um bom.
Yes. Thank you. See you soon.
Bye. Bye.